Welcome to the 12th episode, or what I'm pretty sure is the 12th episode. I'm Roberto Manco Stens. This is my co-host Truman Matheny.
That's correct.
It is correct. This week we watched the Evil Dead Trilogy, so we'll be talking about that.
This is true. Also, Roberto, I just made a whole bunch of noise with the microphone, so
okay, cool.
You may want to mute my audio out just a second ago, and
Yeah,
possibly
I'll do
right
it.
now.
I mean, sure.
Just wanted to give you a little heads up.
I'll find it. I'm leaving that entirely in. It's gonna be great. So you watched The Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah, this is true.
What inspired you to watch The Phantom Menace?
Okay, I was actually gonna say why even before you asked. My family just got Disney Plus,
Nice.
which I was not in support of. My
Understandable.
dad had said he wanted to get Disney Plus a while ago, and then he completely changed his mind when he realized that no one would watch Star Wars with him, and he didn't want to get Disney Plus just to watch a series of movies alone. But anyway, that whole Hamilton recording is coming out on Disney Plus. And my mom had to see that for sure.
Of course.
So we got Disney Plus in order to, get ready for that. And then my dad was able to convince my sister to watch all of the Star Wars with him.
Oh, no.
And so now she's watching all the Star Wars with my dad.
Which one are they on?
They're on Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
They just finished Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
They're watching them in chronological order, though.
Yeah, I figured.
So we watched Phantom Menace yesterday, and they watched Attack of the Clones today.
You didn't want to watch Attack of the Clones with them?
To be honest, as I was listening to some of the dialogue, I was more interested in watching the Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I was more interested because I kept hearing Anakin say Vader-y things.
Or just really just edgy, like, teen things.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones is a funny movie to laugh at. It's really good for that.
I'm bad like the movie Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
I'm more lethal than a fire in a nursing home. All that
That's
jazz.
not the lyrics.
I'm pretty sure that's the lyrics.
No, it's I'm bad like the movie Attack of the Clones. I'm dangerous like a fire in a nursing home.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I don't know why I have that entire song committed to memory, but I do.
Really?
Yes.
And it's I Kill People rather than Show Me Your Genitals.
No,
or do
those
you have
are two
both?
songs. Well, he has a lot of songs.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, why would you memorize?
I think it's I Kill People. And
I'm just surprised that you would memorize I Kill People over Show Me Your Genitals. I feel like Show Me Your Genitals is a little bit more iconic.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
Huh.
I mean, aside from the missing old people burning. But anyway,
if you don't know what we're talking about, look up John LaJoy. He's
John LaJoie.
John LaJoie?
He's
Well,
we don't need to. He's French Canadian. It's not pretentious. It's just his freaking name, Roberto. I don't think anyone's accusing John LaJoie of being pretentious. He makes songs called I Kill People and Show Me Your Genitals. And you don't need to advertise for a 2010 YouTube video.
It's 2008.
Whatever. Anyway.
No, 2009. Because that's another lyric. He's like, 2009 is the year that I recorded this song. That's
true. He does say that.
I Kill People, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know why I know that song really well. I do. That's
because
like a
you
middle
have
school
ridiculous. Remember
song.
during the music video unit when you put in like 4 songs that were
put in 3.
absolutely ridiculous
Yeah.
for us to make a music video of?
Yeah, it would have been funny.
You were such a dick about that. That was
It would have been cool.
You wanted what was it? Was it I Kill People?
It was I Kill People, YYZ, and some other one.
Yeah.
YYZ is a great song. All of you guys are like, oh, there's nothing. It's a blank canvas. Do whatever you want. It has a sick beat and just go. Make whatever film you want.
This is not a music podcast, and therefore I'm not going to voice my opinions on Rush. But we can talk about that later if you would like. Anyway, so I told them, inspired by our conversations, I told them that I would watch Phantom Menace with them, somewhat for the podcast, and I would watch, I could be convinced to watch Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
But I won't be watching any other ones.
Oh no! Watch Empire Strikes Back.
I already watched that in freshman year. I have no interest in watching it again.
That's like 5 years ago.
Yeah. My taste, I trust my taste up to about 6 years ago. So in 2 or 3 more years, maybe you could convince me to rewatch Empire Strikes Back. Because I also think it might have been sophomore year. Anyway.
Maybe.
Anyway.
So what'd you think of that wonderful movie?
I don't think it's still my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad that I can't say that anymore. I think Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Okay.
With Phantom Menace being a close second.
Okay.
I was really surprised that the characters are very flat.
Oh no, it's the prequels. Yeah, they're all like that.
Yeah, really every character was very one note. And that's why we needed Jar Jar in that movie. Like, I don't think people realize how much Jar Jar Binks is so necessary to Phantom Menace, because you can't just deal with we are Jedi Knights. We are Jedi Knights. Something about trade. That was the one thing that I hated, was like I read the whole introduction.
Yeah.
Those intro credits, and I was like, are you joking? This whole thing's about a freaking trade war?
Yep.
That kind of pissed me off. But anyway, then I found out that it was like a legit attack.
Well, yeah, but it's an attack because of a trade war.
Anyway, the biggest highlight of so I remembered really liking the "There's always a bigger fish" scene. I remembered loving that scene when I used to watch it. Doesn't really hold up, I'll be honest. Yeah, a lot of because that's the thing, and that's what I said about the original Star Wars movies, is that they were cool for the times because they had, some of the better special effects, which even then I don't think it was like the coolest special effects of the time. I think we went into this on a previous episode.
We did.
That there were multiple other movies around the same time that had better special effects. And anyway, so yeah, these movies, when I was watching Phantom Menace, that was like one of the first movies I saw with like a whole bunch of special effects, apart from like whatever kids movie had anything interesting going on. Yeah. And even then, it was probably on par with Phantom Menace, even though Phantom Menace had come out 1 or 2 years earlier or something like that.
Okay.
Or no, a couple years earlier. I was, though, disappointed, when I found out that it did come out in 1999, because I feel like the 90s had some better special effects than that at their fingertips. But I
don't think they're that bad, though.
I don't think they're that bad. They certainly don't hold up with time. But that's just with everything in the special
CG.
effects.
Well, I guess it's early 2000 CG, I guess.
Yeah. I definitely noticed 1 or 2 times. You know that comment on, like, the Avengers movies and all the newer Disney movies, like the newer Star Wars movies and things like that, where it's just like, oh, ha, joke.
Yes.
I noticed that 1 or 2 times in Phantom Menace, where I was like, oh, ha, joke.
Uh-huh.
But I don't remember those. I actually was disappointed that it started out pretty slow. Like, it wasn't until they got to Tatooine that it really kicked up, you know?
Yeah.
But also, droids are way better than stormtroopers. I texted you this.
Yeah, you did.
Droids are way cooler than stormtroopers.
Why?
The stormtroopers
Didn't they, like,
just
look
have a
cooler, or just
like, they just look cooler.
Really?
I mean, think about droids are maybe a little bit less tactical if you think about it, because, like, stormtroopers actually are a functioning human and can't just, don't only do what they're programmed. They're able to think about a better attack or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yes, they're better at fighting, I guess, as far as, like, thinking about it practically, but they don't look half as cool as the Roger droids in Star Wars Phantom Menace. And then on top of that, the droids get cooler and cooler. I really like those force field droids. Those were super sick.
Yeah.
The spinny, the Beyblade droids.
Yeah, droidicas.
And then I think it's in number 3, Revenge of the Sith, where they get those headless droids that have the huge arm cannons. Do you know what I'm talking about?
They're silver?
Either silver or black. I remembered them being black.
They're like a dark gray. Those are in Attack of the Clones, and those are the normal, like, tan ones are battle droids. The gray ones are super battle droids. In Revenge of the Sith, they get Magna Guards, which are the ones that have, like, stabs and they spin them.
I'm talking about, like, the opening scene of Revenge of the Sith, where all those droids come out as Anakin and I think Obi-Wan are charging into General Grievous.
Okay.
And General Grievous makes
whenever
his escape.
they land in his hangar
literally
bay,
the opening scene, dude.
The opening scene is them flying.
Oh, right. And then they
land in his hangar bay.
Yes.
The ones that are there and they, like, jump out of their fighters and, like, start killing them, those are normal battle droids. Then they go off. R2-D2 kills 2 super battle droids. Then they get captured. They go to try and rescue...
okay, so it's super battle droids.
Yeah, it's super battle droids.
I
have all of these movies, like, just down.
Yeah, I think I would be willing to watch one of the other 2 prequels with you, Roberto.
With me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're gonna show me what's funny about them, but that's gonna be when quarantine's over.
No, see what's funny is just when, like, it's just all the stupid lines that they have. Because, like, and the only reason that they're funny to me is because because
the memes.
It's because there's a subreddit that just turned them all into memes, and so there's no line from the prequels that isn't funny to me.
I forgot what the big meme that I had seen before was from Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon Jinn says it on Tatooine, I think. But yeah. Don't worry about it. I think he says it to Anakin or something.
Is it the one? Is it the one where Anakin is like, "Oh, maybe you killed a Jedi and took his lightsaber"? Or no, that's what Qui-Gon Jinn says, and then Anakin's like, "No one can kill a Jedi," and then Qui-Gon Jinn is like, "I wish that were so." Is it that one?
No.
Damn it.
Anyway, but it might take place in that scene. Yeah, Tatooine is sick. Tatooine gets so lame, though. And the fish realm that Jar Jar Binks is from is cool.
Naboo. Yeah.
What?
I mean, they're on the same planet as
the Naboo, but they're their own colony.
Sure.
I thought they were like the Watuchi or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the Watuchi is from something else. Jar Jar Binks, again, I said he's necessary, but he's definitely too much.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah, he definitely...
What did you... before watching all of this, I told you that, like, a lot of people thought that the portrayals were racist.
Yeah. The more and more I watched some of those fish character people, I didn't think Jar Jar was at least, possibly not doing a Asian accent.
Well, no, he's Jamaican.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But there were some other ones that were definitely real bad.
Yep.
But Jar Jar, I definitely felt like it was at least they could say, we didn't know, and we could believe it. Like, they could get away with Jar Jar, but still they wouldn't at this day and age.
Yeah.
I hate the wipes. I hate the wipes.
What
I
wipe?
think...
Oh, okay.
Dude, they do literally the clock wipe.
Yep.
Like, trust me, I love a good wipe. I wish wipes were able to be as, as okay. I like wipes. I think the way they use wipes is smart. But the fact that they super over the top do every wipe and they don't use the same wipe ever. Like, each wipe is a different wipe. I have no problem with going from left to right or right to left. All good, no worries. I love a good left to right, right to left wipe. But when you do, like, the barn doors wipe and the clock wipe and the diagonal wipe,
yep,
and the diagonal and curved wipe, it just really annoys me.
I'm pretty sure that they did that they've done this one before where it's like a clock wipe, or it's like a diamond wipe, but there's like a ton of diamonds. There's like rows of diamonds, and then so they just like go up into a square.
No,
and then there's like a ton of little squares.
I don't
everywhere.
remember that.
Might be in another one. I seem to remember them doing that one before.
So yeah, I definitely overhyped the movie for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's I feel like it gets a bad rep. It's not that bad. The worst part about it, I think, is Jar Jar Binks. But like other than that, I don't.
But he's so necessary. How can you have that movie without somebody who's not so one note? Like, Anakin is the only character that's at all relatable or interesting,
and everybody hated him.
And yeah, it's just like, you gotta have Jar Jar, because you can't have just, I am Queen Amidala, my people are suffering. I am Queen Amidala, my people are suffering. We are not soldiers, we're Jedis. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn, I'm a Jedi Master.
You know what that
Qui-Gon
is?
Jinn. What?
Bad directing.
Okay.
I mean, because all of these actors are good actors.
Yeah,
right.
I thought
like,
it
top
was
quality
from a writing
actors.
standpoint.
Oh, the writing is utter garbage. But it's written and directed by the same person. So either way, the blame is still on George Lucas.
Okay. And then I will say this movie does have two of the best sequences in all of Star Wars, period, end of story. The three sequences that are my favorite Star Wars sequences are the Sarlacc pit.
Okay.
Which we already talked about that for a while. And then the Darth Maul lightsaber scene goes so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing is the prequels, what's cool is that it's a different bad guy every time, like a Batman movie or something. You know, you get Darth Maul, then you get Count Dooku, and then you get General Grievous. And by the way,
he's not really the bad guy, but yeah.
All three of these characters are way more interesting and way cooler than Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, as I've watched the movies, I don't know if I talked about this last time, but Darth Vader is only a cool villain because he looks cool. That's it. He's not really scary. He doesn't really do any scary things. He just stands there and he's like, ah. That's really it.
The only villain that looks less cool than Darth Vader is Count Dooku.
Oh, yeah.
Darth Maul looks cooler. General Grievous looks cooler.
Yeah.
Even some people might say Palpatine, but probably not.
Nah. He's just a wrinkly old dude on a spa day.
Yeah. Anyway, then the last one sequence that's the best in all of Star Wars is that pod race scene that went so hard. That pod race scene is so good, super well executed, race, chase, whatever you want to call it, fast car sequence, you know.
Yep. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, like, really, that pod race sequence could be among some of my favorite fast-moving vehicle scenes.
I don't remember that well.
It's just really well shot, and I think that's the scene where the special effects hold up the best.
Okay.
And it's,
because they bothered to put motion blur on things. So if you bother to put motion blur on things, like if your models for like the pod racers and everything, if they're just going really fast and you put motion blur on them, the actual detail of the models really doesn't matter because they're all being motion blurred. So yeah, I would guess that it would probably hold up pretty well.
Yeah. And then anyway, yeah, they I just also like how there are like 5 plot points within the pod race scene.
Yeah.
And they're able to like handle all of it really, really quickly in a way that's, there's like almost no dialogue that's actually necessary for the whole pod race scene.
Yeah.
At least Anakin's not saying, "Oh no, my blank blank is busted,"
Yeah.
Using the classic, what's the Rick and Morty line about, you can't just make up something sci-fi sounding and have it, be correct.
Yes. Yeah, and like whenever his engine is out, like he looks at the readout and it shows that the engine is out.
Yeah, it looks so it communicates information very effectively.
Yeah.
And I'm always really impressed by a good show don't tell sequence. And I think that one worked really, really well. And I get a whole, like, I already feel like I understand how the pods work.
Mm-hmm.
push one and then that cannon shoots farther, and push the other one, that cannon shoots farther. So I understand the searing mechanism, and I understand why it would suck that one of those cannon things would blow out, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think
they're unbalanced.
Yeah, it just does that really, really well.
Yeah, the other thing that I think is interesting about the pod racing scene is that, like, it's not just a pod racing scene to, like, just because pod racing is cool. It's like the plot rides on it. Like,
yeah, and
there's like different
it
things.
It definitely showcases there, like, who Anakin Skywalker is and all that jazz. You know, it's
okay.
It's a really great moment that's very warranted. So you definitely hit on a very good point. So yeah, that scene was like the sole reason, like, I grew up thinking Anakin Skywalker was the coolest guy ever.
If you want to think that he's a cool person, the Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show makes him awesome. It, like,
yeah, that's also why I liked the cartoons, because he had that robot hand.
Well, he has the robot hand in every movie.
Does he have the robot hand in Clone Wars?
Yeah. He gets the robot hand in Attack of the Clones. Clone Wars happens after Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Because Attack of the Clones is the start of the Clone Wars. Anyway, but they're good. Anyone that I talk to who's like, I don't like the prequels because of these reasons, the TV show fixes it.
Yeah,
it's good.
I asked my dad if he was going to watch the TV show in that order as well, and he said he wasn't going to.
I mean, don't watch it chronologically. Look, if you're actually interested in watching it, I'll give you like a list of like shows that, because like they're a list of like arcs, because I don't think you should watch it straight through, because there's some episodes in which you get Jar Jar Binks, and it's just like it's not worth your time to watch that for 30 minutes. But there are some ones that are like, wow, this is really good. Or like things where it's like, this is the best of the TV show. And if this interests you, then there's some other things that you could watch. But if this doesn't interest you, or then you've like seen like the best things, so then you get like the highlights.
I definitely think the prequels are a good move. You know what I mean? I think there was something cool about watching it knowing what all was going to unfold, you know what I mean? And how they set it all up. You know, I do think that was partially cool. And specifically, it was partially cool because I was sitting there as my sister, she actually came up to me afterwards and she was like, so yeah, I really like that movie, but here's the thing. I know the name Luke Skywalker, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that whole thing of, like, whatever the Luke, I am your father, or something like that, right? And since the kid's name is Anakin Skywalker, I'm really worried he's going to turn out to be Darth Vader.
She hasn't seen them?
She said something along those lines. That's what she said.
That's awesome. You should just watch those with your sister just to see her reactions.
I'm asking her after each one. I haven't heard what she thought of Attack of the Clones yet, though.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, and then one more thing before we move on. I really think the sound design is definitely something well done. You know, I just started taking a sound design course, and I realized just how much the sound design is really excellent in the Star Wars films. So there's a good sequence in Attack of the Clones that has pretty good sound design. I thought that pod race scene was really sick in its sound design. Yeah. Just the fact that each pod had its own sound as it went by, so that even though each pod looked different, you also knew that was the big bad guy or whatever, because he different. You know, his pod made a while everybody else's
like a
went
Harley.
Or stuff like that.
There's this scene in Attack of the Clones where Obi-Wan is getting attacked by Jango Fett. And
is it Jango Fett in that movie?
Yeah, it's Jango Fett.
Well, then where's Boba Fett?
Boba Fett is a kid. He's in the movie. He's just a child. He's like 12.
I thought Boba Fett was Attack and Jango was
No, you have him flipped.
But Jango Fett is Return of the Jedi, or
No, Jango Fett is Boba Fett's dad.
okay. So Boba Fett is in Jabba the Hutt's place.
Yes.
Okay, and Jango Fett is the bad guy from Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a sequence where they're shooting at each other, and there's like, I don't know.
I remembered
if you're
liking
interested
that
in sound
sequence.
design, you don't like it?
I remembered liking that sequence.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then I would watch it again if you're interested in sound design, because it's. I don't want to. Yeah, just we can talk about this later. But if you're interested in sound design, that's a good scene for it.
All right. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You watched the Evil Dead trilogy.
Yeah.
Run me through your thoughts through the whole trilogy.
Okay.
Just a quick summary of your thoughts on each movie, kind of like what you texted me.
So, after watching these movies, I realized that the Spider-Man movies with Sam Raimi holding back.
Yeah,
these movies are just full Sam Raimi.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a lot.
Oh, it's so much.
It's a lot to take in.
Very overstimulating.
Yes, and it's just it's a lot. Let's go. Let's go through. I have like a page or so of notes. But I won't go through all of them because most of them are just like reactions that I just like had to type down somewhere.
Well, just let's. I want to get your overview of the trilogy because that's gonna create a really good idea of where we're going as far as like. I'm trying to do a thesis paragraph, basically.
Okay, gotcha. So the first one is, I feel like, a classic teen
80s horror. Yep.
Exactly. It's like, oh, we're in the woods in a cabin. Oh no, the bridge is broke. We're stuck. Oh, there's some scary stuff. Yeah. And there's like some funny like stuff where like, oh, that's funny. Like, yeah. I don't think it really. The one thing is like actually scary. The only like parts where it was like is like jump scares, which like come on,
I think it was good for a slasher movie.
I think it's good. I enjoyed it.
The main thing I liked about the first Evil Dead movie was those shots of the camera right on the ground, just dollying really fast through the woods.
Yeah, those are interesting.
I don't know if anyone had done that before then, but I definitely tie that shot to Evil Dead, and I know it's been done by a couple other movies. So my thought is that Evil Dead created that or just perfected it. I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know how much of this movie is like already established tropes or just things that like Sam Raimi is like. I feel like it's already established tropes, and it's just being like, it's just doing all of them to do them. Although I could be wrong.
I would say that from what I know about Sam Raimi, which isn't all that much, Evil Dead was definitely his breakthrough film, and he's very into horror for sure.
Gotcha. So it's probably very tropey.
And so I think he intentionally was trying to make a movie that was, going to be the popular style of the times. And even then, among all the other slasher movies that came out at that time, I think that first Evil Dead movie still stands out. among all of the slasher movies that were coming out at the time. I mean, there are a lot of great ones that I like. I love.
There's also not a lot of good ones. One of the comments that I have written down for the first one is I said that it feels like a trauma film, but it's just like it gets more money and it's better. Like there's like a couple more passes on the script.
A what?
They have
film?
more money. A trauma film.
What's a trauma film?
Oh, it's a production company that makes a ton of movies like this for like super low budget.
Kind of like Blumhouse.
Maybe, but they're like.
But Blumhouse
sort of like
has a little bit more of a variety going on.
No, this doesn't really have more Troma. I don't think Troma really has a lot of variety. It's more of just like really low budget, sort of like 80s VHS movies.
Okay, I've never heard of
all sort of like
them.
Zany
I'll check them out.
Horror movies. They're interesting. Yeah, I mean this one isn't bad. It's entertaining. There's a couple like, yeah, it's. I feel like it's the movie that... So you know how in horror movies or whatever movie, like, you'll see someone... Or, like, someone will put on a horror movie in the movie, and then, like... Oh, here's a good one. Like, whenever in... What's the Michael Jackson movie? Or, I mean, the
Thriller?
Michael Jackson... Yeah. Like, I feel like this is the movie that they're watching in Thriller.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, Evil Dead is referenced in multiple movies. I can't remember which movies I've seen, but like there are a lot of times where they're like, "We're gonna watch the Evil Dead," you know, and it's. I think Evil Dead 1 is just a great slasher '80s movie.
I wouldn't call it great, but it's definitely like it'd be better if I watched it with friends. And it was just like, look at this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like Friday the 13th and Halloween better.
Okay. I haven't seen any of those, so I can't really compare.
I really like both of those films. I think they're both great. I would recommend them if you want to. I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I've really wanted to for a while, but I just haven't ever gotten around to it. I also like Hellraiser, but that's not really the same. But yeah, I like classic horror movies a lot, and I think this one definitely deserves to be among those ranks. But I do think I like some of those other ones a little better. But certainly what makes this whole series... I think what's helped it stand the test of time is number 2 and number 3.
Those ones are weird.
Well, let's start with what you thought of number 2.
I don't understand what's happening. Like, okay, so did he bring back... Okay, so... Is it like a reboot of the first movie? Does he have no knowledge of what happened in the first movie? Is he a different... Because, like, going into it, I feel like he's a different character. I feel like he has no knowledge of the first movie. He's bringing another girl to the cabin, and I feel like it's completely, like, separated from the first movie. They're like, yeah, that happened. Now we're going to do this in a different way so we can develop it and make it into a different story. I feel like it's different.
To give you an idea, the way I was taught about this film series, because I learned about it in a class I took in middle school, actually. Anyway, I was told that it's just a remake of the first film, where they wanted to basically make fun of their own movie, and make it really crazy and a little bit more mean-spirited.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know. I think shoot, how am I forgetting his name? He's like Sam Raimi's favorite actor. Ash's character
Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell. I think Bruce Campbell's character, Ash, it definitely is more developed in the second movie. I think he doesn't really have much...
in the first movie, he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, he's not as interesting or dynamic a character in the first movie. And in the second movie, his character's really developed as, like, you know, the bumbling idiot that he's supposed to be.
Okay. I didn't really get that.
Really?
I
mean, he's not that much of an idiot, but he's certainly not... He's not supposed to be a smarter
No, I
guy.
don't think he's...
Anyway...
I don't really know. He just sort of just, like, is just crazy in the second movie.
Well,
like, he's just, like...
he gets possessed in the second movie.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is, like, there are those scenes where he gets possessed. That's like one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that scene where everything just starts laughing
At him? Yeah.
And then there's another...
That was interesting.
There's another sequence where, like, you really understand that Sam Rami... and again, I think I've already shared this quote or whatever it is before, but someone said that, like, Sam Rami says that, you know, a scream and a laugh are really not that different as far as, you know, what a film can, you know, actually make you react to.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly agree that, like, you know, the two best movies to go see in a theater are horror and comedy, because, you know, you're all sitting there experiencing it together, and you're all, you know, it heightens the experience of both. And then, of course, like, big action movies are fun to see on the big screen for sure. But anyway, so I feel like Evil Dead 2 is a really cool experiment in how different is the laugh from the scare. And so there are some scary parts, there are some funny parts. One of the parts that a lot of people talk about from Evil Dead 2 that really shines is, do you remember that scene where, like, Ash is jumping through walls or, you know, ramming through doors and things like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remembered, but there are, like, 8 doors that he rams
he runs
through.
around the house, like, twice.
Like, it's ridiculous how many doors he goes through in that sequence. He goes
about, like, through every door, and then probably through some of them twice.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous and hilarious, the sheer quantity of doors. And in some ways, they're making fun of themselves, and they're making fun of the films at the time, while still the whole film functions properly as an 80s horror movie. You know? But you didn't get that?
I just sort of... I don't... This entire movie is just sort of just, like, just crazy to me. It's just, like... It's just, like, over the top and zany, and, like... I don't feel like there's any build-up, because, like, the movie starts, and then, like, 2-3 minutes in, he's just, like, there's like, demon, zombie, whatever, and then, like, there's, like, people getting killed, and it really doesn't change throughout the rest of the movie.
Why would you want to have much of a build-up when you already did the whole build-up in the first movie? You know, like...
Well, because it's a different movie.
Well, I don't think they are different movies. I think it is a sequel. It's just... a couple things don't quite add up, but I don't know. I don't remember there being too much wrong with the fact that he comes back to a cabin in the woods, you know, possibly a different cabin in the woods, and he's just an idiot enough to... It is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why he takes new women back to that cabin in the woods.
It was just weird to me. The other thing this is more of a thing with the first movie, but it happens in the second one. There's like, okay, so in the first movie, a girl like runs out into the woods, and then the woods like tie her down, and then like it's like pretty heavily implied that the woods rape her.
Yeah, I believe you're referring to the nature rape scene in that film.
Yes.
Pretty ridiculous and crazy.
Yes. And then it happens again in the second one.
But I'm guessing in the second one it's a little bit more playful. But I don't remember that scene too vividly.
Well, there's not like a shot of like a vine like first one is just
the
weird.
sound of Roberto choosing his words carefully.
It's the first one is just weird. I don't know. It's
okay. We can move on, even though I love the second one.
The second one is just weirder. And like, okay, so we get to the end of the second movie and his hand gets chopped off, right? And then okay, let me preface this. So when I was a kid, I went by a comic book shop with my mom, right? And in the comic book shop, but not known to me, there was an Evil Dead action figure of Bruce Campbell, right?
Yeah.
And it's him in like the leather straps, and he's like chainsaws one hand and a shotgun in the other, because it's an action figure and it's like an 8-inch one, so it's like one of the bigger ones. I'm like, oh, what's this? Right, in the comic book shop, and my mom like explained it to me. It's like, oh, he chopped off his hand, and it was like, oh, huh, weird. Guess it's like just some weird action movie, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then I saw this movie, I'm like, oh, it's from this.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, he gets his hand. There's the chainsaw. Oh, cool. And then from that point on, all I wanted him to do was to put the chainsaw on his hand, grab the shotgun, and then just like become. You know what Doom is, right? Like the video game.
Oh yeah. No, I played Doom.
I just want him to to become the Doom Slayer, and then just go into hell and just like do the thing that, like, do the Doom video game thing, but in a movie with that, and I would be happy. That's all I want. Like from that point on, that's all I wanted from that movie, and it didn't do it.
Yeah, they go a completely different direction.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, you got a chainsaw hand, you have a shotgun, let's go. I want, like, and then it doesn't do that. So that was disappointing.
Well, they also show you that he ends up, like, going to medieval times.
Yeah.
In the second movie.
So it was like, cool, we're in the medieval times, that's a cool setting, whatever. Just throw like an army of zombies at him and just have him go through them one by one by one.
Well, they do that at the end.
No, but he doesn't really fight any. I don't know.
The end
like
battle sequence is so ridiculous. It's awesome.
It is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing to think about. The reason why I love Evil Dead 3 is because I've never seen a movie so perfectly be a cartoon.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, all of those skeletons and things like that all have... I think each of them have their own voice actor or something crazy like that. Like, all of those crazy amount of skeletons have a whole bunch of different voices each, I think.
Yeah. I feel like each movie just gets crazier and crazier. Like, the first movie is like, oh, it's a teen horror movie. And there's, like, some parts are like, oh, that's weird. Or that's funny. Right? That's, like, different. Yeah. And then the second movie is just, like, just all the weird and different parts, but that movie. And then the third one is just like, now we're going to do that, but in the medieval times and somehow more. And it's just a lot.
Which ending did you see?
The one where he goes back in time and he's in the... I mean, he goes back to his normal time, and he then, like, the person attacks him, and then he kills him with... he kills the old lady.
Yeah, in Quickie Mart or whatever.
Yeah. It's S-Mart.
S-Mart, yeah. So there's another ending that's also great. Where he gets there, he goes, he starts reciting the plague, and then he goes too far forwards in time. And he's now in a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Well, but here's the thing: it's desolate, and he's just like, "Damn it!" And that's the whole ending. Is he just like looks around and he's like, "Damn it!"
That would have been funny. See, what I would want is he teleports to the future world, and it's just like apocalypse. Like, think of like, you know how in like the original Terminator movies it flashes back to the future. I want him to go there, but then there's just a ton of zombies everywhere.
Salvation world.
Yeah, and then instead of Terminators, there's a ton of zombies everywhere, and then just revs the chainsaw and just goes at it. I just want that. I just want that movie.
I'm sorry, Roberto, but he went and did something more interesting.
Oh.
He decided not to make the video game movie you crave, and instead make
good. It doesn't have to be a video game movie,
medieval.
though. It doesn't have to be Doom. You just have to like.
Yeah,
whatever.
But what you're describing is a video game movie.
Yeah.
Like I forgot who was talking about it, but like there are some movies that even though they aren't video game movies, feel like video game movies because you're just like watching action sequence after action sequence after action sequence.
Yeah.
With very little plot.
So,
I think someone described the Alien versus Predator movies as video game movies.
And now they have a video game for those movies.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a Predator movie. Predator video game. My bad. Here's one thing that bothered me. So he has a double barrel shotgun, right?
Yeah.
2 shots. There's a time in which he shoots both of them at once, and he just shoots them both. I believe that's in the second one, and then he has to reload. In the third movie, he just consistently shoots 3 times out of a double barrel shotgun, and then like doesn't reload it, and then he has 2 more shots, and then like he doesn't have a hand, so how can he reload it? Like in a second or so. It just upset me. The other thing is that like I don't know. I just feel like people just don't know how guns work, especially in movies like this. Like he shoots a person and it like
I love how far they blast back when he shoots them.
Okay, well that's realistic somewhat. I don't know. It's just what's with the people going inside of him? What's with himself like going inside of him and making a second one?
Oh yeah, that sequence. That sequence is so good.
I watched that. I'm like, oh, I'm watching a kids movie now.
It's so ridiculous. The whole movie's a cartoon, dude. The Evil Dead is like the Army of Darkness is everything that you would want from an adult cartoon that it never gives you. You know what I mean? Like too many adult cartoons are just like the exact same thing as, a rated R comedy movie where they just, say, "Oh, haha joke. Oh, haha joke." You know what I mean?
I have a comment that plays off of this.
And they don't do as many of the like ridiculous sound effects and ridiculous things that happen because it's a cartoon and cartoons don't follow real world rules, and their heads can be huge sizes and they can get an anvil dropped on their heads and still be chill, and all that jazz. And that's what Army of Darkness gives you.
Okay,
so what's your
here's
comment?
The thing. I feel like this is a Jim Carrey movie, but without Jim Carrey.
I can kind of see that. I don't
He
think
looks.
Jim
There's
Carrey.
many shots in this movie where I'm like, oh, he looks like Jim Carrey. Like where
That's
Bruce Campbell
so
just
ridiculous.
looks like Jim Carrey.
Bruce Campbell does not look like Jim
No,
Carrey.
watch this movie. Watch this movie again. He looks like Jim Carrey in like half of the shots, and he does like literally. Okay, I just looked it up, and I am surprised that this movie came out before The Mask, because there are some jokes where I'm like, oh, that's in The Mask. That happens in The Mask. Like that exact thing. Like where like you know how in The Mask like Jim Carrey, like the mask's face or like gets all crazy and does like crazy face things. That happens in this movie.
Yeah, because
It's
both,
like he gets like a giant chin, and he
they're
looks
both
like Jim
cartoons.
Carrey. I don't know.
But yeah, no,
No, but watch this movie. He looks like Jim Carrey. It feels like a Jim Carrey movie, but like somehow also not. I don't know.
It's Jim Carrey, but machismo.
Sure.
It's machismo Jim Carrey. I actually saw Bruce Campbell and Sam Rami at Comic-Con before I knew who they were. I didn't go up and meet them or anything like that. But
you saw them there.
Yeah, well, I went to one of their like panel things that they did.
That's funny. Because like at this point, these people have to know how crazy their movies are, right?
Oh, for sure. They just went up there and were making dick jokes the whole time.
Were they really?
Like the whole panel that I saw them at. It was also at WizardCon, the Austin Comic-Con. So it wasn't like I saw them at New York Comic-Con or something crazy like that. You have?
Yeah.
My family was asking, because I kept telling, I was talking to my dad about you and your Star Wars opinions, and I hold you to be the Star Wars sayer in my life. You know.
Yep.
I don't really care what anybody else thinks about Star Wars other than you and me.
Thank you.
Anyway, so my sister was like, is he really that much of a Star Wars nerd? Like, has he been to Star Wars cons, and has he been to Comic-Con? And I was like, I'm sure he's been to a Comic-Con, but I don't know for certain.
I've been to a Comic-Con when I was like 6 years old, and my dad took me around the aisle. Like they have like the I haven't been to any panels because I was 6, but my dad took me around to the aisles, and we were there. I don't really remember any of it really. I just know that I've been there, and I sort of just like have a vague idea of like the way that it was like set up.
Yeah, Comic-Con's a cool place. I definitely would want to go. I want to go to New York.
It would be interesting.
I want to go to New York Comic-Con, like, before I die. It's definitely a bucket list item.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be very interesting people watching, I feel.
Well, it's fun, but I'm more interested in the panels. I just like that kind of stuff, man. You know?
Yeah, that's the other thing is that, like, it's Comic-Con, but then there's also, like, a ton of movie things, and it's a really good chance to get into panels of, like, just people talking about their movies.
Yeah, I mean, and also like the early release trailers and things like that. Like, I'm into that stuff. I'm about it. I wouldn't really care about the Star Wars panel, but
yeah. I mean, they have their own convention now.
Yeah, I also probably wouldn't wait too long in line to see whatever the Marvel one is. But if I was able to,
it's like a 3-hour wait.
That's
people
not that
line
bad.
up the day before.
I'd probably wait like an hour or two, but like for the film festival in Savannah that I saw Parasite at, I waited like 5 hours for Parasite.
Wait, did you see it the day before, or before it came out?
I don't think so, because I think Carter's mom had already seen it and was like, yeah, it's really good, Carter. You should definitely go see it. But also, I don't think Parasite like ever showed in Savannah outside of that screening, and then
Interesting.
when they screened it again at that specific theater, to be like, hey, SCAD students, we know a lot of you are film majors, and we know a lot of you can't see the movie that's going to win Best Picture. You know, we're going to show it.
Here it is.
At the SCAD theater. But yeah, so yeah, I definitely want to go to a Comic-Con. All right, it's getting to be wrap-up time. What are your closing comments?
Each of these movies is an escalation on the other.
Yeah.
By the end, Bruce Campbell is just like every line that he every line that he speaks is a one-liner, or
I love that.
His character is just insane because he's just like either just like a mean asshole to people or just like screaming. And then somehow he's like this lady comes up to him and is like, "Oh, I made you a blanket." And he's like, "Cool." And then he's like, "Ugh." And then she slaps him and he's like, "Oh, don't be so mean." And then they kiss. And I'm like, "What?"
It's just so ridiculous. I love it.
It's really ridiculous. It's a lot.
All right. Do you have a ranking?
1 3 2.
1 3 2.
Yeah.
Mine would be either 3 2 1 or 2 3 1. I don't know. The 2 and 3 are so closely tied to each other because
Two is just. I feel like it's just like a middle movie, and they could have just taken 2, like the important parts of 2, and just made it you could just combine the second and third movie and cut parts out of both of them.
Yeah, but
and then just make them into a second movie that's more coherent and just makes more sense.
But think about
it's just a better overall movie.
Roberto, think about what movies I like.
Mm-hmm.
I love the weirder the better, man. Evil Dead 2 is crazy cool because let's take a classic, 80s horror movie and then just make it weird, ridiculous, and funny.
Yeah. And I'm saying that you could do that, but it'd be interesting if halfway through he opens the portal then, and that's the halfway point, and then they I don't know. I feel like these two movies would be better if they were one movie.
3 hours long.
No, it's
Army
not.
of Darkness is 2.
No, they're all an hour and 20 minutes.
Really?
Every single one, yeah.
Army of Darkness just always seemed so much more grandiose.
I don't know. Especially because the third movie rehashes, the opening parts of it are just the beginning of, or the end of 2, and just rehashes 2 again. Because I guess this time it was by Universal and had a lot more funding.
Yeah.
Which you can tell. This movie has a budget.
Yeah, which
I don't
is
know.
super
I just
cool.
feel...
But also,
it is really cool.
I love that. I love the look of it all. I love those ridiculous, grandiose sets for sure. I'm super into that. I want to do that in one of my movies eventually. And then number 2 just feels so cool and so indie that of course, only an indie movie could get away with just being as ridiculous as they wanted to be for this,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like you could combine 2 and 3 into it a better, more coherent movie that works better.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you, Berto.
Okay.
All right. Tune in next week where we have no idea what we're going to watch.
Yeah. So...
Mystery box.
Mystery.
Could be anything.
It could be actually anything.
We're going to watch Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius.
Exactly that. That's the next episode.
All right.